All right. Hey, everybody, and welcome again to another episode of the Remarkable Coach podcast. I'm your host, Micheal Pacheco, and today with me, I have Joe Siecinski. Joe is the co-founder and owner of BrainSHARE Coach. Influence Digest has recognized Joe as one of the top business and executive coaches in the San Francisco Bay Area. As a mentor, Joe's mission is to help his clients build a successful, stable, profitable, and thriving business that works without them. Joe, welcome to the podcast.
Micheal, an honor and privilege to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me today.
Thank you, thank you. I know we tried to get together a couple times and finally made it work. So this is definitely exciting. I love to kind of open up this podcast by just inviting our guests to talk a little bit about yourselves and what got you into coaching.
Well, I had a phenomenal career with a little company called Hewlett Packard. You might have heard with them. And I retired in 2007 and to go buy my island. My goal in life is to buy an island and make it a scuba diving resort. And as I started going down that path and liquidating my real estate assets, well, 2008 hit. And it lasted a lot longer than expected. So I started this actually a consulting business, and that didn't work so well. So I bought a franchise called Action Coach. I took the Action Coach stuff, added all my HP stuff onto it, my NLP stuff, executive coaching, and created the ultimate business framework.
Love it.
Which is building a business like building a house. You start with a foundation and build your way up.
So you were going to buy an island. Did you buy Alcatraz?
I'm actually looking something more in the warmer weather. I want warm water. I like Micronesia, maybe the Philippines, somewhere, the Caribbean. But there's some pirates there. I gotta worry about the pirates in the Caribbean.
I mean, I feel like it's a good problem to have.
Yes.
Awesome. So tell us about what you're doing today.
Well, so what we're doing now is, and we've actually just released the e-learning system, or the online version of building a business that works without you. And
this is
what
BrainShare.online, is that right?
That's right, BrainShare.online. So we have taken everything that I've been doing for the last 13 years and put it into an e-learning self-paced a system where you can actually walk through it yourself. You get stuck, you give me a call, versus the expensive one-to-one time, because that costs some change. Yeah. So this is a entry-level learn how to build a business that works without you. I've watched too many businesses crash and burn because they just don't know how to build the business. Mm-hmm. They create a job, or they have a hobby. It's not a business. A business is a profitable enterprise that works without you. And if that's what you're looking for, that's what we build.
But you can't do that. I mean, it's not something that happens naturally, right? You have to specifically work on and design something that is going to run while you're in Micronesia.
That's right. Well, it's got to be. It's like say you want to go to New York from Silicon Valley. Sure. You got to put your map together. You got to figure out how you're going to get there. Sure. Well, building a business, you got to have your roadmap. You've got to have your business plan, your roadmap to get there. And this foundation, the ultimate business framework, mm-hmm. actually walks you through that. So it's your time allocations, your ultimate goal. When are you going to sell your business? Standards is all about consistency in your product or service. I mean, McDonald's makes more hamburgers than anybody, not because they're the best, because they were the first ones to be consistent. And you got to know your numbers, and then target market, unique selling proposition, guarantee, sales training. How many people have gone through sales training that are running a business? You got to do sales training, and then your marketing, and then systemize everything like Michael Gerber talks about in E-Myth Revisited.
Yep.
Systemize it, and then you put your team together, different team up here than you have down here, and then mm-hmm. move from profit loss to valuation to expand or sell.
Talk about what does a typical engagement with Joe look like? I mean, with the ultimate business framework, do you work with people one-on-one with that, one to group, or are you specifically doing this on the online?
I do one-to-one.
Yeah.
I do group, And then with the new online learning system, it's kind of a do-it-yourself module where you can walk through it at your own pace. And then when you get stuck, because everybody gets stuck, you
Sure.
just give me a call, and usually I can break you through wherever you're stuck at in about 15 minutes. Because I've been doing this a long, long time, and every business is the same framework, but every business is unique. The business owner knows the uniqueness. I know how to build the business.
15 minutes.
Usually 15 minutes is like, oh, you're stuck here. Yep, seen it before. Here's where we go.
It's that easy. I love it.
When you've been doing this as long as I have, you've seen a lot of things, and everyone's, oh, my business is different. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Your business is different.
But it's
But
also
the framework, yeah, it's also the same. It's
Yeah.
ironic. I mean, if you want a business, if you want a job or a hobby, that's okay too. You usually stop right about the systems level. And that's okay. It's all based on your ultimate goal. A lot of professional services, doctors, accountants, dentists, they don't necessarily want a business. They may want a job. It's okay. I've had multiple attorney clients that say, oh, I don't want to create a firm. I just want to not work as many hours. Okay, that's easy too.
Talk to me about the difference. What is the difference between a job and a business?
Okay, so a business is an enterprise that works without you, and that's your vision, that's your goal, that's where you want to get to. A job, you have to be there.
Yep.
And a hobby is you love it so much it doesn't matter whether you make money or not.
Why would anyone? So if a business is something that works without you, why would anybody not want that?
Because they love what they do, or or it's the model's not set up for that. Like a lot of business coaches, they have to be there. It's a job. Unless they systemize it and move into like the e-learning system that I put together.
Sure.
And that's my congruency is I'm building this so that it works without me.
Because as a business coach or as a consultant, you're exchanging directly dollars for time.
That's right. And that means it's a job.
Yep.
Now, once I move into like the online learning system, now I don't have to be there necessarily, and I can bring on other coaches to actually bring that. So now I've built a business that works without me by having other coaches and other resources that run the business, and I'm sitting on my island scuba diving.
Sounds rough, man.
It's it took a long time to get here, and when you start out, you don't have all the information and the experience and the systems, processes, and tools. I've put together the systems, processes, and tools in this online learning system. There's over 200 bricks to build this house in that online system. And it's my honor and privilege. My goal is this year is to help 10,000 businesses.
Love it.
And that's a lot of businesses. And the only way we can do that is have this, online learning system where you can get the education level. And then the biggest competitor is probably right between your ears. Self-sabotage is a killer.
Yep. Yeah. Mindset's big. So there's a lot of, this is a heavy populated space, right? You've got a lot of competition of people saying that they've got the secret sauce to teach you how to grow your business, how to scale, how to create systems. What is
you can't swing a sock without hitting a coach.
That's yeah. So and even people who, like I said, who say that they've got the ultimate business framework. Maybe that's not called exactly that.
There's a lot of them out there.
Framework for business. What is special about your system? What's your secret sauce?
Well, I think my secret sauce is not only do I have personally, I've had the experience and the education and the knowledge base, so that I've done it and I'm teaching you how to do it, and I've taken all the tools from other places. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. You see all those books up there?
Yeah.
I leverage everything I can possibly get to put into the system to help my clients.
Yeah.
It's all about them. It's not about me. And guess what? I'm not the right business mentor for everybody. That's okay.
Yeah.
Interview people. It's like you wouldn't just go to the first doctor you find or the first accountant you find. Interview them and find somebody that you resonate with, that's going to go with you and get you to where you want to go. don't just pick somebody out of the hat. Go interview at least 5 businesses and five coaches, mentors, whatever you want to call them, before picking one. It's a big decision.
Yeah, find something that resonates with you. I love that you call out the books in the background. I think, and I could be butchering this, I think it was Picasso that said, "Good artists borrow, great artists steal."
Yes, and or plagiarize with pride.
There you go. There you go. That's Joe Siecinski.
Yes, there's my dad used to tell me, there's 2 ways to learn. You can learn by your own mistakes, or you can learn from others. That's the people that wrote the books. Well, guess what? He always said, "Well, Joe, why do you have to learn from your own?" Well, I'm trying to do it different now, but I have written 2 books, by the way, bestseller on Amazon, BrainSHARE. And it's all about modalities, because a lot of businesses, you've got to be the CEO and the VP of marketing and the VP of sales and this and this and this. And if you don't have the right structure in place to leverage your modalities effectively, you're going to bounce back and forth and waste a ton of time and energy. And that's what the time module is all about, is creating your modalities and staying in them for about 45 minutes to an hour and a half to become very, very effective and efficient.
BrainShare.online for the e-learning course. Is that, I'm looking behind you at the Ultimate Business Framework, these are the different modules that you've got, kind of building a foundation across the bottom and then stacking up from there?
That's right. And there's actually 3 different levels, because as you start building the business, you kind of level 1 gets you to the business, and then you'll hit what's called, I call it the Valley of Death. And that's quoted from Vern Harnish in Scaling Up. You'll hit about 12 employees, and all of a sudden your mind shift has to change from being everything to actually putting your management team in place. And that's kind of level 200. And then you get to the level 300, where you have to put that executive level in place and start really focus on valuation, your team, because your team is everything when you hit that level. Right now, at that beginning level, you're everything.
Sure.
And then as you get that 12 employee level, you got to put your management team in place. So that's kind of level 200. And then that executive level, typically in the $10 to $15 million space, is at level 300. And that's when you start going, okay, do I want to keep this business? Do I want to sell it? What do I do next?
Nice. And for those listening to this as an audio podcast, Joe, can we get maybe a copy of that image for the Ultimate Business Framework to throw on the podcast page, throw in the show notes?
Absolutely. It's I'll shoot you out a copy and pop it right up. It's also on my BrainShare.online and BrainShareCoach.com. It's on both of those because that's the framework.
Perfect. Yeah. So if you're listening to this on an audio podcast, check out the show notes, check out Joe's websites to get an idea of what we're talking about. And looking off to the right, I see an epic, very colorful Venn diagram of many things. Are these 2 things related?
Well, they are. So once you get to this exit or expansion, and you say, "Well, I don't want to sell my business. It's my baby. I'm gonna, I'm gonna have a legacy. I'm gonna go IPO or whatever." That's usually in the $50 million space, and then you're creating a sustainable, predictable, stable, consistent, and emotionally connected business. So that's really focused at the executive staff or the board of directors, creating that on your strategy, your business development, your people, your execution, and your mission. And that's all about giving back. You lead people, you manage processes, and it's really a different mindset when you get up to that level of leadership. And that really dives into leadership. And that's in the the 50 million space, and it's a different business model. I mean, it's a different way of thinking.
Sure.
And you got to think different. And that's, we move here. I don't do a lot of work here because it's not as fun to me. I spent too long with HP. This is more fun when I'm watching, building the business, get somebody up to, the $20, $30 million space, and they can exit out and enjoy life with their kids. That's the fun part.
Scuba diving in Micronesia.
Scuba diving in Micronesia. That's it.
For me, I think I'd move up to the Yukon somewhere and just play hockey on a frozen pond all day.
Well, see that's your ultimate goal,
Right.
and everybody's. To me, I don't like the cold.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like the nice warm weather. Getting into go scuba diving, 78 degrees.
There you go. There you go. Nice. So basically on the left side, well, for me looking at you on the left side there, we've got like levels 1 and 2, and then over on the right side, we've got the top level.
Yeah, the high level, that's kind of your your $50 million space. It's a different, really at your executive level, we got to make sure everyone's pulling in the same direction.
Mm-hmm.
This is you're kind of managing the overall business to get it to where it works without you, and then you kind of move from there to here with your executive staff.
Nice. For the online course, what does that look like? Are these modules weekly? Are there live calls with you in the course, or is it purely self-paced?
Right now it's self-paced. With
Okay.
anytime you run into a challenge, you give me a call. Next month I'll be starting a monthly call that anyone can pop in and check it out.
Yeah.
But right now, when you get stuck, give me a call. Or if you want to have a weekly call or a monthly call, whatever makes sense for you, we'll put the program together that fits your needs. There's not one thing that, cookie cutter thing. Everybody's different. Everybody wants, what they want. And my job is to help them get there. It's okay.
So anytime you got to be careful what you're promising here, Joe. Anytime anyone runs into a bump, they can just call you. What if I run into a bump every day?
Well, then we'll have a conversation because there's something else that's broken.
There you go.
and that's okay too. Right now, I like I said, I've been doing this 13 years. With the amount of that I say, go do this, go do this, go do this, it usually takes somebody a week to 2 weeks to actually get to that module. If you're putting together your marketing plan, it's going to take a week, if not longer. Yep. Sales training, you're going to have to practice your scripts. Your calendaring system usually takes 2 or 3 months. Defining your goals, your vision, mission, purpose, culture statements, your operations manual, your finances, actually learning how to look at your numbers is, that takes time. And I recommend almost every week, I recommend a book to somebody, one of my clients at every one of the sessions.
I like it. I like it. What's your top 3 books that you most frequently recommend?
It depends on where you're at and where you're going. If you're at the very beginning stage, E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber is a must-read. Traction by Gino Wickman. Scaling Up by Vern Harnish. In the teamwork space, 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. I just got off a call. Endless Referrals by Bob Berg. A guy was having problem getting his marketing and that moving. I'm like, how many referrals? What kind of referral system do you have in place? Mm-hmm. Leadership is Maxwell, John Maxwell, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Sales, question-based selling, spin selling, strategic selling, depending on what product or service you're offering. Consultative selling, they're all very similar but different. Did that help? By the way, I've got like a list of 100 books that every entrepreneur should read. Marketing, Blue Ocean.
Sure. Yeah, that's a great one.
I like
this is great. I mean, I'm familiar with a lot of these.
But wait a minute. The most important one.
Yes.
BrainSHARE.
BrainSHARE. That's good. Yeah. I'm familiar with a lot of these. Spin selling, I've had recommended to me a number of times. I actually own a copy somewhere in my bookshelf, but I haven't read that one yet.
I was going to say, but have you read it? Because
that's one I have not read yet, but it's been recommended to me enough that it's high on the list.
Or put it on an audio and listen to it. Depending on what your learning style is, it looks like you're an audio learner, so you might be better off with audio books than you are by reading. If you're a visual learner, reading's good, or YouTube videos. What I don't like about most books is most books are 80% fluff, 20% information.
Yeah.
And if you can, Yeah, it is.
It's true.
Here in the U.S. we sell books by how much they weigh
Mm-hmm.
instead of by what information they contain. So if you can, get the abstract or whatever it is, get the information, and then if you like it, you can dive deep and get the book and go and read more about it, and really dive in deep and read it once or twice.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I reread a book, I get more out of it. Just like watching a movie, is the second time you watch it, you're like, oh, I never saw that before.
I didn't notice that weird little insight before.
Yeah, it's like, oh, look at that. There's a little twist in there I didn't catch. And when I reread books, that always happens.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. So for the excuse me, for the online course, self-paced, how long does it usually take people to get through it? Or is there like an average?
I would say an average is 8 months. There's
Okay.
200 modules. So if you spend 1 hour a week, it's going to take you about a year. If you spend 2 hours a week, you can get it done probably in 8 months, because there's some BrainSHARE things you have to do that just take some time. Like setting your vision and your mission. That's not something that's you just sit down and scratch out on a piece of paper. You got to put some BrainSHARE into that.
Yeah.
Your marketing plan, your calendar. So the fastest I've seen anybody really get through it is about 6 months.
Who specifically is this for? Is this specifically for small business owners, for new business owners?
I actually think it's for the business owner that's been in business at least 18 months, because 18 months, you're probably going to make it.
Uh-huh.
The first 18 months are, everybody's like all gung ho and everything. And then 87% of businesses never make it past year 2.
For sure.
And if you're intuitive enough to say, oh, let me go learn, then yes, right away. But most people got to hit that brick wall that says, what the heck did I get myself into? And then they're ready to learn. And that's the ones that is targeted at that, you got 10 to 12 employees and you get going, or you're kind of getting started. You say, you know what, I want to learn this before I get bloody.
So a business owner who's been in business 18 months, and are we talking service businesses, product businesses? You said that, is there an employee minimum that you would recommend for this?
The model is applicable for everything from solopreneurs to Fortune 50 companies, because the framework is the same. It's like a car. They've got 4 wheels and a frame.
Yep.
This is the 4 wheels in the frame.
Okay, love it.
And so it's applicable. The target market is that 12 employees, the 12, employee business that they started out as a technician. They've kind of moved into manager, but not into business owner modality yet, as Michael Gerber talks about in E-Myth, and Kiyosaki also talks about it in Cash Flow Quadrant. So by those are 2 great books everybody should read.
Yep.
If you're going to get into business for yourself anyway.
And
because running a business is the hardest thing you'll ever do. It's easier to get a job.
A lot.
It's a lot easier. It is a lot easier to get a job. Anybody that says it's not, I challenge you, because getting a job is a lot easier than running your own business. The most stressful thing you can ever do.
Yeah. And so
especially if you don't know what you're doing.
Well, and I feel like, I don't know, and I'm open to being wrong, but I feel like if most people knew what they were getting into when they started their business, they never would have started it.
There's a few that just can't work. I know a lot of people that they can't work for somebody else.
That's me.
And that's then you kind of have to do your own thing.
Yeah.
Then you have to decide, okay, am I building a business that works without me, or am I building a job for myself? Or do I have a hobby that just makes enough money for me to do what I want to do? They're all okay.
Yeah.
It's your goals, not mine.
Sure.
I've got one client, his goal is to travel around the world backpacking. And he doesn't need a lot of money for that. It's okay. It's your goal, your vision, not mine. My job is to help you define it, and then help you get there as fast as possible.
Yeah. And then so going back to in terms of kind of your ideal customer for this course would be that their desired outcome would be to create something that runs without them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, you can decide to be there. This is the cool thing about building a business like this. I've got one client that's got an automotive shop. He's got 3 actually shops. And I go down, he's got a house in Hawaii. He's got a ton of money. He can do whatever he wants. And I go visit him. Guess what he's doing? He's working on cars. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? He's going, this is what I love to do.
It's what I love to do.
It's okay that, he loves it. So you have the option of doing it or not.
I was going to say,
that's the power.
That's the point of it, right? Is it's basically insurance. If something happens, if you decide you want to do something else, you have more options, you have more freedom.
Well, and a lot less stress, because if you don't have to go there, hey, you know what? It gets a lot funner. I mean, running a business can be fun. Running a business should be fun if you do it right. It's really stressful, especially if you have what I call the feast famine scenario. That's also one of the target markets. Ooh, I got money. Ooh, I'm starving to death. Ooh, I got money. Ooh, I'm starving to death. And that's all because of your market positioning stuff.
Nice.
And your foundation.
All right, Joe, I want to ask you for pieces of advice. What advice would you give to new business owners who are trying to break $25,000 a month?
First of all, figure out your time allocations. I just got off a call with another one. I said, how much time are you spending on marketing? He says, I'm not getting enough leads. And he's like, 4 hours a week. 4 hours a week. Guess what? That's 10% of your time. You need to spend 20% of your time, 8 hours a week doing marketing. And then your marketing and sales time will change. So what should your time allocations be, and then allocate the time to do it. That's the biggest one. Most business owners do what they like to do versus doing what they should be doing.
Yeah. And what recommended time allocations do you recommend?
It really depends on the business, but when you're first starting up, at least 50% of your time should be allocated to sales and marketing.
Yeah, I agree completely.
At least, if not more. And then operations is usually around 30%, depending on your business model and everything else. It's when you get 70% operations, you don't have any time for sales and marketing. You're fighting fires all the time. Systemize. Systems, by the way, systems means save yourself time, energy, and money.
I love it. Nice. It's good. So many acronyms feel forced. That one slides right in like a glove.
Yeah, well, that one and my other favorite one is focus, follow one course until success, and avoid SOS, shiny object syndrome. Oh, money over there. Oh, money over there. Put your plan in place and then work your plan. I mean,
nice.
This is all old stuff.
What advice would you give to a small business owner trying to break 6 figures a month? So they're trying to do 7 figures a year.
So then it usually becomes your foundations is probably in place. So you've got your time allocation set. You've got your goal. You've set your goals. Your operations are running fairly smooth. Now it's typically sales and marketing. So where's your time allocations? And sales training. Unless you're an e-commerce business, and even then, you've got to make sure you got your customer experience, your customer journey nailed down.
Yep.
It's too many business owners don't take sales training.
So at 7 figures, you're building a sales team, or the business owner is doing sales training, or both?
Both. I mean, how can you train your team if you haven't done it?
Sure.
I mean, to me, congruency is a big deal. If the CEO or the owner's not doing it, you can't expect your team to do it. I mean, you want to earn more, learn more. Life is pretty simple.
Love it. Nice. What advice would you give a business owner trying to break 5 million annual?
Where are you going? So typically then it's putting the right team together, which you need a very different team at that 5 million than you do at the 1 million space.
Yep.
So really put your org chart together, roles and responsibilities, KPIs or OKRs, your metrics, and then get the right person in the right seat at the right time, going to the right place. That's not, especially in this environment right now when it's hard to find people, getting the right person is the key then.
How do you feel about flat hierarchies? If you're familiar with the Ray Dalio, Bridgewater.
Right up there. Yeah.
Yep,
I like flat organizations, but I also find the span of control. So you can't have free for all. In fact, what was it? Yahoo? Someone did self-managed work groups, and people want leadership. They need leadership. So you can be flat, but not so flat that you don't have any guidance.
Sure.
Everybody needs that mentorship. I've got 2 coaches myself that help me drive where I'm going because we all got junk in our brains. So make sure you've got, and then make sure you're providing training to your managers so they can provide training to the team. If they're not getting the knowledge that they need, they're not going to be able to transfer it down. Hire really smart people and let them tell you what to do. Steve Jobs.
I know, right? You just gotta hire people smarter than me, which is really easy for me to do.
It's interesting that I look around and they're like, well, I hire people smarter than you, give them the tools, education, knowledge, and processes, systems that they need, so they can tell you what they need to be successful. Everybody wants, not everybody, most people want to be successful.
Sure.
If you give them the right tools and metrics, they will be. They'll excel. You don't need to hold anybody down. I mean, I one of the biggest compliments I ever had is when a direct report, and when I have to report to them, that means I've done a good job as a manager and leading them. When I report to them, I've done a great job. That's just, to me, that's cool.
Nice. Joe, is there anything that you want to talk about that we haven't touched on yet before we wrap?
If you're going down this path and you're going to start a business, do your homework, put your plan in place, work your plan, and get your time allocations together. And if you get stuck, give somebody a call. If it's me, great. If it's not me, find somebody that's got the experience, knowledge, and education that you need to help you get to where you want to go. I'm not the right one for everyone, but I'm here to help.
Love it. Love it. And Joe, you've got a gift certificate for a 90-minute workshop.
A 90-minute workshop of your choice. I've got a marketing workshop. I've got actually a dozen different workshops. What I normally do is I have them give me a call. I'll spend 10 or 15 minutes figuring out where the biggest constraint in their business is, and then do a workshop on that. So just give me a call, 408-899-6737, schedule an 1.5-hour session, and we'll get things rocking and rolling for you.
Joe, we had over 600 downloads on this podcast the other week, so you might get some phone calls. You just gave away your phone.
Hey, I just gave away my. I've got a couple of other coaches that I can always bring in. We've got the resources to help people. We're here to help, and that's why we're here. I mean, that's why I do what I do. I hate watching businesses go out of business because they don't have the knowledge or skills to get there. It makes me cry.
Tough. Yeah. Awesome. Joe Siecinski, BrainShareCoach.com and BrainShare.online. Thank you so much for joining us on the Remarkable Coach podcast.
My honor and privilege. Anything I can do, let me know. And you have an awesome, awesome day.
Beauty. And thank you to our viewers and listeners for joining us again. Talk to you next time. Cheers.